This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we review the season 2 finale of House of the Dragon. Plus, the Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr. getting big paydays for the next 2 Avengers movies. Wesley Snipes breaks multiple Guinness World Records. New trailers for the Joker sequel, The Penguin Show, and Creature Commandos, and more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, August 5th, 2024.
This is Jason Mewes, and for reasons best left between you and your therapist, you're listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, Snooch to the Nooch. Check. Check 1. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up.
Jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, what's up? Hello, listener, and welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero, TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
And I do not have a clever intro to Rug Boy because Rug Boy's not here.
Lame.
So it's quite a relief. Coming up with those, you know how much work that is, Anthony? Trying to think of a funny thing on the fly to say.
Do you think of them actually on the fly, or do you plan it?
I think about them maybe a few hours before we have to record. I'll be like, oh shit, like while I'm driving. I'll be like, fuck, what's dumb and funny and relevant? Man, it's like being a monologue writer for a talk show. It's a lot of work. So Ruggs will be back next week. He was double booked because he doesn't know how time works. I guess. Because he knows we do this every week, but he had booked something else. So I thank him for not making me work extra. But we always have
Not funny.
boy here in spirit.
I really don't give a
And
shit.
he does it. That's the thing.
I don't know what happened to that guy, but I'm glad we saved you your 30 seconds of brain power to not have to come up with
It's
something.
one less dumb thing I got to think of. Anyways, back to our program. We got some dragons to talk about. The Hot D has ended. We're going to do that second half of the show, but there's some news to geek out and discuss. Let's get to it.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
Are you still buzzing from San Diego Comic-Con a week later, Anthony?
I was buzzing for a couple days after, but I would say I've cooled off. I did have Lollapalooza this weekend, your favorite.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
you went there too this weekend? Yeah. That
I
looked.
went there,
How-
for a day.
How was that? It looked really crowded.
Yeah, it was about the normal amount of people that are there, but it was very hot. I'll tell you that. Saturday was very hot.
Who'd you catch on the big stage?
I don't really remember. I was just there hanging out, but I guess the big names I saw, kids know about Fortet. I saw a little bit of Skrillex. I saw a little bit of Future and Metro Boomin.
Okay, I've heard some.
But I was mostly just hanging out, just drinking outside.
All I know is this Chapel Rowan chick.
Oh, she was huge. She destroyed it.
Yes, she was there on the Friday or the Thursday. Not even on the main stage. Everyone, thousands of people in pink singing along to this chick who I saw her on a late night show once. She's very I love her costumes. She's like kind of the next evolution of the Gaga, right? From Madonna, Lady Gaga. Now you got her in these outlandish makeup and these wonderful costumes, and people really dig her. I guess she's huge.
I didn't know who the fuck she was, but everyone was buzzing about the crowd she got. I mean, it was Thursday, I think a 4 or 5 o'clock time. One of the bigger stages, but still, that time on a Thursday to have that many people was impressive.
Yeah, she broke Lollapalooza on a Thursday. Anyways, this is not a Lollapalooza podcast. The reason I ask is there's still some follow-up things that came out regarding the big announcement. Of course, if you didn't hear, Russo Brothers returning, Marvel Hall H, Robert Downey Jr. returning as Dr. Doom.
Oh, shit.
Big, crazy announcement. I've had some time to think about it. Variety has a very interesting article here about the monies. How much this is all costing Marvel. Of course, we know Bob Iger has come back and his job is to cut the budget down, right? His job is to reduce output, save some money. I don't know how this plan works into that budget because this article says first, Robert Downey Jr. was only going to come back if the Russo brothers were directing. They were the only ones he would work with. And to get the Russo brothers back, the article says sources say Marvel is plunking down $80 million for Anthony and Joe Russo to direct Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret War, and, quote, significantly more for Downey.
Okay? Oh, shit.
So it's unclear whether it's $80 million for each movie or for both movies for the two. Other interesting details, Robert Downey Jr., his deal is filled with perks like private jet travel, dedicated security, and a whole trailer encampment. And it also points out that so far, RDJ, by far the highest paid member of the MCU, making somewhere between $500 and $600 million just over the course of the 4 Avengers movies.
It's a lot of cheddar.
That's a lot of cheddar. Do you think? I feel like he's going to want, that's like $100 million per Avengers movie coming up.
Man. I think I read this article last week, and I think he's probably getting a flat fee, or not a flat fee, but a salary plus something off the ticket sales.
So it says for the Russos, it does mention, it doesn't have back-end compensation, but it contains what they call performance escalators that kick in at $750 million and $1 billion thresholds, which is kind of interesting. But what is this? These two movies are going to cost them like $1 billion to make. That's already like $400 million in salary. If Russos are getting $80 million per movie, let's say it's per movie, and RDJ is going to cost them $100 million per movie.
I almost don't believe it.
Everyone else is going to be making $14 an hour because that's all that's going to be left.
Yeah, I was reading this, and I don't know, the way it's worded makes it seem like what you're saying is true, but I have a hard time believing the Russos are getting $80 million per movie. I almost feel like it's $80 million for the two. I don't know, because you're right. $
80 million for the two movies. I mean, it's $40 million split if it's per movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's unclear.
But yeah, I mean, if it's going to cost them just, let's say it's 80 million plus 80 million, 100. It's almost, you're right. It's almost 200 million just for the director and the lead. It's just, it doesn't seem like it is conducive to making any money on this film, but we'll see.
They backed up the truck full of cash for this, but
I mean, how much did here? Let's just take a little look. See, how much did the Avengers movies make?
Oh, total?
Yeah, let me pull it up. Endgame was 2.8 billion, so that you could make a lot of money there. Infinity War 2 billion. Avengers 1.5 billion, and then Avengers Age of Ultron 1.4 billion.
They've all cracked $1 billion.
They've all cracked $1 billion. They've all been above $1 billion.
And some too. So, I mean, with RDJ coming back, you should be able to make $1 billion at least easy. Maybe 2 on each of these.
I mean, maybe they are going to spend, $500 million to make these films. And then, it's another, usually the rule of thumb from unscientific science that I've read is it's usually the budget times 2 when you throw in the marketing, campaigns and the ads. So if they spend $1 billion, but they make $2 billion, that's still nice.
Yeah.
That's still nice.
I think that's that'll work out, but it's just crazy amounts of monmoney and
crazy numbers.
And you think about the visual effects people some have tweeted like, I'm making $14 an hour. But that's going to happen. But how does this, they're reducing the number of movies that come out to save money, but is this really going to save them money? This, thinking about this thing, and it's like, it's such a straight financial move that they must think this risk is worth the reward.
Yeah. I mean, they clearly they wanted Downey, and Downey's price was the Russos, and I think it's a win. It makes sense that Downey would want the Russos back to make an Avengers film, and if you're Marvel and you're desperate for Downey, there's worse things than being told, "Hey, get the Russos." So it seems like while it's a lot of money, and in ways we talked about last week, it's a big risk. It's also you're going with the Beatles. You're going with the
hit makers.
People you're going having the people that roll out the hits and
old reliable.
Yeah, and hopefully they can roll out another couple hits for you.
I mean, this will probably make him like the highest paid actor of all time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy. Listener, let us know what you think. Is this too much? Is it not enough? Join the conversation. Join the Facebook group. It's called Jock and Nerd Nation.
Jock and Nerd.
There's a link in the episode description. It is a closed, exclusive group.
When you recorded that,
for our listeners, when I recorded that 10 years ago,
did you say it in that intonation?
I think I did. I think I did because I think I heard that in my head. And that was recorded before we recorded for any episode, right? I was like, this is the audio I hear in my head. I don't know why. I just did it. It's the first thing I said.
Jock and Nerd.
Jock and Nerd. And it's forever
Jock and Nerd
going to live on. This whole thing, I took this out of the notes, but I'm just going to mention it real quick.
Yeah.
I was wondering, I was like, what do you think Johnathan Majors feels about all this?
Oh, yeah. What does he feel?
Right? Seeing this pivot, seeing his whole... So I took it out, but TMZ, if you were wondering, TMZ got you. This lady was following him and talking to him. And
he was following him.
Yeah, from TMZ. And he was kind of trying to be very diplomatic. He says he's heartbroken. He loved Kang. Hold on, let me find it. It was right here. And she mentioned, how does it feel? Robert Downey Jr., Ezra Miller, both have long felony records. And they were given a second chance. You have a misdemeanor, and they kicked you to the curb.
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying to be diplomatic, and he's like, look, I didn't get that opportunity. He didn't really comment on that, but I was like, that's a good point. Because RDJ has a long-ass rap sheet.
Yeah, I think yes, they do. I think also timing is everything.
Yes.
And, if you did something 20, 30 years ago and you kind of atoned for it, served your time, the public is way more welcome to taking that on than someone that did something, yesterday. Obviously, it wasn't yesterday, but
it wasn't yesterday. But
PR was just too strong around that. The negative PR.
I mean, it does suck, and it's a bad look. But give him like 2-3 years, people are gonna forget about it. He'll be back. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I think he'll be back as long as he doesn't do shit like that again.
Yeah,
people give him another shot.
They will, and I felt bad. I was like, I wonder what look at this played out, the pivot from Kang. So we'll see. Time will tell. Speaking of other monies, I wanted to check into the Deadpool box office because these numbers are wild. The movie's still doing amazing. It made $97 million domestic on its second weekend. So right now, domestic total, $395 million. Worldwide, $824 million.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
This thing, I'll give it a week. It's cracking $1 billion.
Wow.
I think it tops out maybe 1.2 billion.
That's your unscientific guess?
Yeah, that's what I read. Some people are like 1.2 billion.
Okay.
And it's literally Marvel Jesus because it breaks Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ R-rated box office record for highest domestic R-rated movie of all time. Just past Passion of the Christ. It is number 1. So it is bigger than Jesus. It's not an exaggeration.
Wow.
And all-time worldwide, it is right now number 3 behind Oppenheimer and Joker. But I think it's going to be number 1.
I think it's going to break those.
What do you think? How much it's easily getting to $1 billion, clearly.
Right.
How much past $1 billion can it get?
Oh, man. I think... I think 1.5, 1.4.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. What did let's see. What did No Way Home finish at? No Way Home's kind of comparable, but then it's not R-rated.
It's not
No Way Home
R-rated.
was 1.9.
Oh.
Spider-Man is more popular than Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say let's go 1.3.
I think 1.3 is good, maybe even conservative, but definitely reasonable.
Definitely good.
Yeah. Do you know, I saw this graphic. The Spider-Man movies actually are the second biggest franchise box office makers behind the MCU. and above Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Apparently, the Spider-Man movies, if you count them all, I guess, have made more money than Star Wars, which I thought was interesting. Spider-Man always pulls it in. Give me a Deadpool Spider-Man movie. Give me a Hulk versus Wolverine movie. There's a rumor about that, but that would be dope. Did you see any other auxiliary stories about this? Sean Levy's doing interviews. They're putting out lots of photos. If you haven't seen the movie yet, all the cameos are out there now.
The one thing I saw, so spoiler, but
yeah,
cameos are all spoiler.
Everything, it's all out there.
I saw a clip online where Wesley Snipes was asked about Marvel.
Yes,
and he literally just got a text.
Yeah.
Or a call. It was a text from Ryan Reynolds that said, "Hey, I want to talk to you."
It's great.
And he had a conversation about returning to Marvel, and he was saying this whole time people thought they hated each other, and he said we never hated each other.
Yeah,
that was never a thing.
Yeah, he said it was a joke between us. It's a good joke. It was a good work.
Yeah,
because I did think they hated each other. So this Variety article with Sean Levy, he talks about how all the cameos before agents got involved, both him and Ryan Reynolds literally just texted these people and were like, "Hey, we got this idea. You want in?" And everybody was like, yeah. Everybody was in. He even said like the divorce joke was okay. They ran it by him. All the Ben Affleck joke and the Hugh Jackman divorce joke, all cleared. For the thing, and even Henry Cavill, they just texted all these people, and people are on board. Here's another interesting story. Not only is the box office breaking records, Wesley Snipes himself is breaking multiple Guinness World Records. He now officially owns the Guinness World Record for longest career as a live-action Marvel character.
Oh, wow.
26 years, beating out Hugh Jackman by like 2 years. And then he also holds now the Guinness World Record for the longest gap between character appearances in Marvel films, previously held by Alfred Molina, which was a 17-year gap between Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man No Way Home. It's been 19 years since his last appearance. So I thought that was crazy. They're just breaking Guinness World Records.
How big is the book of Guinness World Records?
They've added so many bullshit records to this book.
Because there can be a record for anything at this point.
Yes, there can. You know, I used to buy it every year. We had a subscription.
I used to buy it too.
Oh, I used to love this book. I still remember the photos of the dude with the longest fingernails.
Long nails, yeah.
Yes, and the longest mustache.
There used to be a show on Fox where they would have the people on. And I mean, the guy with the long fingernails that's just so gross.
It was very gross and disturbing. I was like, how are you not breaking that shit? How do you do anything? How do you do anything? You just have to stand there with your hands up like the whole time. You can't do it.
Well, I think it affects your hands really badly. Your fingers get all fucked up.
Yeah, they must. Like, how are you cleaning that? The shit is getting under there. On America's Got Talent, occasionally, dude, some people will show up trying to set a Guinness World Record on the show, and it's always dumb. The last one was this guy was trying to set the record for how many pairs of underwear he could put on in 60 seconds.
Oh, my God. They're so stupid.
And he failed. He didn't even get it. He was like 3 off of the record.
Oh, my God.
But then he's like, okay, this was actually kind of funny. Then they were like, wait. There's an alternate record we can all do. And he told the audience, he's like, if there's clean underwear under your seat, if we all put this underwear on our head, we will break the record for most people with underwear on their head in one place. and they
shit.
They did that and got that world record.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I was part of a Guinness World Record once.
Were you?
Yeah.
Doing what?
Many years ago, we went to the park by our house and they were doing this huge guitar lesson. Everybody was to bring their guitar and we all learned 3 chords and we played 2 songs. And it was the Guinness World Records largest open air guitar lesson. We got a little certificate and shit too. I was like, oh, look at that shit. So I am technically in the Guinness World Book of Records.
I thought yours was going to be man at the youngest age with white pubes.
Yes, the most
undyed.
The oldest man with the whitest pubes, undyed category. There's a dyed category. This is undyed category.
Yeah, undyed. They call yours a all natural.
I won the world record for least amount of pigment in skin. Most transparent individual, see through. I could win one.
Shortest amount of time between words without, shortest amount of time without saying a thing.
I think we could get Guinness World Book of Records for like something about a puppet on a podcast. There's got to be one we could break.
Oh, this has got to be the longest podcast with a puppet on it.
Or a puppet has the most episodes of podcasts. Because clearly Rug Boy's got to win. Most episodes of a podcast appeared on by a puppet.
But the Guinness Book of World Records would require Rug Boy to go on camera and do the thing with his hand.
Well, we could have a special by stream only.
Yeah.
I'm like, you could do a Zoom link. That's all I could give you. That's all I'm getting. Okay. Anyway, so enough Marvel talk. DC did have some things coming out. Let's check in what's happening at Warner Brothers DC. Gunn has finished shooting Superman Legacy, or Superman, what it's called now. So they've wrapped shooting production, and now we should get a trailer maybe by the end of the year. But before San Diego Comic-Con, they put out a new trailer for Joker. Folie, Deux. I don't know. Is that how you say it?
Folie, I think so.
Folie, Deux. It's the Joker sequel, of course. And, we're just talking about $1 billion R-rated movies. This is a $1 billion R-rated movie. Let's make another one. Martin Scorsese be damned. Anyways, Anthony.
Yes.
You get a look at this one?
I did. I watched it about a week ago. A week ago. What do I think of it? I guess you're going to ask me, right?
We see a lot more of the Gaga as Harley Quinn, a little bit more of the story, kind of.
So I don't really understand. So it's a somewhat of a musical.
There's musical scenes in it, clearly. And I think they're calling it a jukebox musical where they use songs to tell the story. And I don't know how much of this is in his head. How much of this is
That's
real?
what I was going to get at. Is it seems like from the trailer, this is playing out where they meet each other in the insane asylum, or whatever they call those things now.
It's Arkham, right? He's at Arkham.
Yeah. But a lot of this stuff seems very dreamlike or whimsical, as if they are playing out in their head. So, I don't want to jump to too far of a conclusion, but if this is a sucker punch type situation, I'm very out.
Oh, where it's not, none of it's real. Or
none of it's real. I don't know what to make of this, to be honest. I feel like Joker was lightning in a bottle when it came out, and they had a blueprint that they copied, and I don't know where they're going with the second one. It does look interesting in that they're, it's not your typical superhero movie.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they have it in them to hit it twice out of the park.
Right. It's going to be interesting. Adding the Gaga is she's a heavy hitter kind of, and you're making her sing. It's a love story between two psychotic people. I feel the same way. Like, it's unnecessary. I don't know which Joker this is. There was a young Bruce Wayne in the first one, but there's something about the cinematography and the feel of this that's very weird and like indie and quirky and different. So I'm kind of digging the vibe. You see him smash the head of the judge. He's on trial on TV. There's like a TV show. Is that real? Is it fake? Right. She's like, I saw you, and finally, she could relate, and I forget what the line is. I finally found someone who could understand. And they're singing multiple songs, When You're Smiling and other classic songs. So, I don't know. It's kept me intrigued. Just a little bit more story, but there's also explosions.
Dance numbers.
It looks like there's dance numbers, some that are in a real world, some that are in a fantasy world. I don't know if the lighting gives away any of it. I don't know. Do you think, here's the big question, does it make another $1 billion?
No.
Right? That's weird.
I don't think so. I think that first one was, just kind of a runaway train that caught on really quick, had a lot of hype behind it. There was a lot of that. Remember, there was that whole, don't watch this. This is anarchy. And, and remember, there was the violence. People were saying you shouldn't watch. And I think that all built into making this even more of something you wanted to watch.
Yeah.
Whereas the second one, I didn't watch the first one and go, I need to see a second one.
Right. It was presented as like a one and done, some kind of Elseworlds thing, and it would have been fine.
Right. So I don't know. I don't know if the hype is around this. I'm not as hyped about this as I normally would be for a sequel to a really good film.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm very curious, but I don't know if I'm hype. And we'll see if the Gaga fans, respond to this, and maybe that helps. But until I see one of these musical numbers, like, it's so hard to tell. I don't know how they're going to treat the music. Very weird. Anyways, October 4th this year, we will get to see it. And then you did mention last week you saw the Penguin panel at Hall H.
I did,
with the Colin Farrell. Not in the
Colin Farrell, not there, not in attendance.
Oh,
but,
he was via screen.
Yep,
he was not in the fat suit. Come on, you lazy fuck!
No,
put the suit.
Was
on.
not.
Come on, put the suit on, or hire a real fat and ugly actor to play this part. What do you do? This is unfair. Anyways, this I want to just talk about quick thoughts about the trailer. This one giving us even more story, which is also very interesting. We learn Sophia Falcone was in Arkham at one point. And he's got kind of a young kid he seems to be mentoring to be a bad guy. Still Sopranos vibes. Are you in on this one?
I am in on this one. I think Colin Farrell as the Penguin is still pretty mesmerizing. Just his walk, his look, the fact that it doesn't look like him. And I think this is a fun story to tell. There hasn't really been much Penguin stuff. I like the angle of him hanging out with this kid and potentially this kid getting roped into the crime life. Then you have, seems like Sophia Falcone is kind of the rival to him because he's trying to take over what the Falcone family had.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's the daughter. So, yeah, I think this will be good. And, you got a good team behind it. I think that there's pretty solid chances it's going to be good. And I enjoyed the panel.
Oh, the panel's good. Yeah, his walk in this trailer is amazing. Like every time he walks, he's just going side to side. The waddling is fantastic. And it is HBO. So its name is Oz Cobb, I think is the name he's going to go with, and not full like Oswald Cobblepot. But
okay.
Like Oz Cobb works.
Yeah, whatever.
But him with like where he's dancing with that old lady that's maybe his mom or someone he's looking after, like that's very Tony Soprano with Livia with his mom from The Sopranos. Like a lot of this continues to remind me of The Sopranos in a good way. In a very good way. Okay, that's September 19th on HBO. And then this is kind of big. The first James Gunn DC Studios project is Creature Commandos, animated feature. We found out it's come out in December, and they've given us a trailer. Did you check this out? It's a cartoon.
I did.
I know it's a cartoon, Anthony. I know how you feel about you like cartoons.
Sometimes, yeah.
This one looks like an adult cartoon. They're swearing. And it's a weird group of characters. You got people like G.I. Robot and Cersei and Frankenstein, Dr. Phosphorus, the Bride of Frankenstein, Rick Flag Sr. What'd you think? Amanda Waller starting another a side Suicide Squad, but not really.
Yeah,
made of monsters.
Well, they're it's supposed to be people that aren't human, right? That's the whole point. Yeah, here's the thing. James Gunn doing a show like this.
Yeah,
I mean, this is right up his alley. He likes weird, not off the wall, not mainstream characters that he can play around with and do whatever he wants with. He's done it with Guardians. He's done it with the Suicide Squad. He's done it with other properties. This is right in his wheelhouse. This is something that will probably be good. It is a little bit on brand for him. You know, he always kind of does this stuff.
Well, he's good with the team, the weird team ensemble.
The one thing that I've found kind of curious is, I know he mentioned this, and I think this is going to be really difficult, but everyone that's voicing these characters at some point can appear on screen as that character.
Yes. In fact, Rick Flag Sr., voiced by Frank Grillo, is going to be playing him in Superman, right?
Right.
Steve G., who we saw as John Economos from Peacemaker, he is also in this show as John Economos. So the people Sean Gunn is voicing G.I. Robot. Of course, you're going to have Amanda Waller is doing Viola Davis. You have David Harbour of Stranger Things voicing Eric Frankenstein, Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus, Indira Varma as Bride of Frankenstein, and Maria Bakalova as Ilana Rustovich. But it's very ambitious, but I love the fact that he made a point to say the people who are voicing these animated will play them live action. Like that's one thing MCU hasn't tried or probably even wants to try. Like that's different.
What if was in canon?
Oh, sure. And they had a lot of those people come back.
Yeah, they did, but I think they've pivoted off of making everything. Obviously, X-Men 97 doesn't seem to be connected at this point, but they've pivoted off of they made a point to be like Marvel animation is Marvel animation, and it doesn't necessarily always have to connect.
Because you had some of them, but you didn't have like RDJ, right? You didn't have some of the big guys for the
someone
voices.
doing an RDJ impression.
Yeah, so they tried to play it off. So this is coming out in December. Okay, so, but we went through these 3 trailers. Here's my question. James Gunn's new DCU. These are 3 completely different sub-universes, if I'm to understand things, right?
Like, yeah, you're right.
The Joker is in its own thing. There was a young Bruce Wayne. It's set in the past. I don't know what universe this is. The Penguin is in Matt Reeves' universe that has another Joker and a Batman. Right. And then we have Creature Commandos, which is in the main DC universe that also has, I guess, a Batman and all. It's kind of, is this confusing? How are they going to juggle this?
That's a good point. I forgot that this is all separate stuff.
Right.
Even though it's all DC. That it is confusing. And one of the things they brought in James Gunn for was to create continuity across everything. So it is peculiar that you're still having all these Batman offshoot stuff.
Yeah.
And also it's interesting to me that the first thing from DC Studios officially is Creature Commandos. That seems like a very interesting, odd choice. I do remember in his announcement, though, that he said he would let some stuff play outside of the sandbox. And Matt Reeves' Batman universe, obviously the Joker. So, it's a little confusing. I don't know that... I don't know if this is the best for trying to get everyone to wrap their heads around. It's already confusing that you're rebooting the universe.
Yeah.
And then you still have stuff going on concurrently that is not part of the rebooted universe, but was never part of anything. But I mean, especially having 2 Batman properties out at the same time.
Right? It's very strange. They're their own little buckets, but how many of these Joker movies are you going to make? You need a Joker and a Batman in the Matt Reeves. Like Robert Pattinson's never going to go up against fucking Joaquin Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
That, I don't know, that would make any sense because you got Barry Keoghan Joker, and then you're going to do Batman Brave and Bold. How many Batmans do you need? How many Jokers do you need? It'll be interesting to see. I love the Matt Reeves Batman universe makes total sense to expand in. There's a lot to play with there, but then this Joker thing comes out of nowhere. They weren't supposed to make a second movie, and it's just whatever. It's another Elseworld. I guess they're just both Elseworlds.
I guess so. I guess that's what we're doing.
Make it make sense, James Gunn. That's what I'm looking for.
Explain it, James.
Explain it. He also released the new logo for DC Studios, and it's like based on the old DC Comics logo in the circle with the stars and the letters DC. I like it. It's now, Marvel's got their thing. DC has a blue logo. Marvel's got their red logo. What do you think? That's pretty recognizable, right? I say, if anything, people.
What, that logo?
The DC in the circle. It's almost nostalgic.
Yeah, that's the old school one that I grew up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good rebrand to go with that.
Yeah, I think they used that from like the 80s, 90s through the 2000s for a long time.
I don't even remember the old DC films logo.
I don't know if they had one because it was never. Remember, they didn't really know what they were calling it. It was DC Universe. Yeah. It wasn't the EU. We made that up. I don't know. So he's coming now and put some official branding. And then the last thing I just want to mention: the boys had a panel at San Diego, and they announced yet another spin-off series. This time it's a prequel. It's called Vought Rising. And it will have Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy and Aya Cash as Stormfront as the lead characters. Look, Gen V was great. That's a good spinoff. I would caution them. I would tell them, just look at Walking Dead and don't do that. You got to be careful with these spinoffs. They also, this is on top of, remember, they're doing The Boys Mexico with like Gabriel Luna.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I forgot about that already.
So that's 3 spinoffs already with The Boys ending its final season. What do you think? Do you want to see Soldier Boy and Stormfront? The show's set in like the 50s, probably.
On their own, I found them both to be interesting characters. Stormfront is basically a Nazi, in disguise, and then Soldier Boy's
it's like the opposite.
he's not a Nazi, but he's just a old school fucking bastard Captain America.
Yeah.
They were both interesting characters. I think a show around them could be interesting. I also think this is the same trappings we see a lot of things fall in with the theory of more and just giving more and more content around this universe. So yeah, I would also be a little bit cautious about them stretching themselves a little too thin with the stories, but
they gotta milk it.
I do like those 2 characters. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that you build it. It would be, I mean, the show is somewhat dark already.
Yeah.
I feel like the show is going to be very dark around those 2 characters because you know that they're kind of going to win whatever.
Right.
I don't know how they lose to anything because we know that they show up later. So the show might have a very bleak undertone, which I guess is not uncommon for
that's the Boys. I mean, Soldier Boy also, they said he will return as series regular next season. He was great last season. I definitely want to see more, and his backstory would be great. And I think you could have some fun with him and Stormfront. I guess if they're on opposite sides, I don't know how that would work, or they're both soups. In the beginning of Vought, they're trying to pull like a Monarch thing, maybe show the beginning. But just look, Walking Dead has so many spinoffs. Nobody's watching. I don't know. There's the Daryl Dixon show still going on. Don't water it down. That's all. That's all you got to do. Okay, let's take a break here. We'll play some promos. We'll come back and talk about some dragons. We'll get the Hot D on. We're going to get our Hot D on right after this.
Oh, yeah.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
What's up? This is Brian, and I'm the host of Citizens of Pawnee, a Parks and Recreation podcast. That's right, a podcast dedicated to my favorite TV show, Parks and Rec. Every week I discuss my favorite things about the show, which include character breakdowns, episode rewatches, and other random facts and tidbits about the show. You can find me on Instagram at Citizens of Pawnee Podcast and listen wherever you get your podcast now. You will literally love it.
Was A Quiet Place inspired by Signs, It Comes at Night, and War for the Planet of the Apes? Was Ready Player One influenced by Avatar, Wreck-It Ralph, and The Last Starfighter? Is The Hurricane Heist more influenced by Sharknado or Geostorm? These are the kinds of questions my guest co-hosts and I discuss on my podcast, Piecing It Together. Every week we look at a new movie and try to figure out what other movies inspired it. Whether it's the story, the character development, tone, or even use of music. Every movie was influenced by something that came before, and we want to figure out what. Check out Piecing It Together on your favorite podcast app or check us out on piecingpod.com. You can also follow us on social media at piecingpod. Piecing It Together is a part of the All Points West podcast network.
Jock and Nerd.
Listener, if you like this show, if you are here every week, if you can't wait to pick up and open your podcast app to listen to the latest Jock and Nerd podcast, this is a great time to join our awesome fan club on Patreon. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Jock and Nerd. And you can give back on a monthly or annual basis. We appreciate everyone's continued support. You guys are the best. It keeps the show coming out every week. It's been keeping the show coming out for the past 10 years. It's all thanks to you, Patreon members. And you can be one, and you get things when you sign up, like access to a exclusive RSS podcast feed where the weekly shows come out early. There's instant reactions to movies, bonus content, lots of fun stuff to listen to right there. The minute you join, there's hours of bonus shit. You can go back, scroll back the many years. You can also join us on our monthly Discord hangout.
Weekly? Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, I'm not making it weekly. It's still monthly Discord hangout. Usually on like the third Thursday of the month. Discord will be August 22nd. You can always go to our Patreon page, see the dates, or it's in the episode description. And there's other fun stuff, jockandnerd.com. We love all your support. Join it today. Okay, let's get into this week's review. Hot D, House of the Dragon.
D.
The Hot D, House of the Dragon, Season 2 has wrapped. Here are your spoiler alerts.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
See Ruggs. Missed Ruggs. Did we? I don't know. He's here. Anyways, we've been talking about this kind of weekly at the end of the shows. We did miss the last couple episodes, 6 and 7. A lot of shit happened. But Anthony, you just watched the finale.
I did.
Okay, this is what I want to know. I'm going to ask you initial overall thoughts on this finale because, and I'm just going to put it out there out on the table right now. While there was some great drama, great acting, great moments, this battle, this war we've been waiting for still does not get here.
Yeah.
And essentially, we're kind of back at where the first season ended, sort of. Just different riders on
more
different
chess pieces,
different dragons, different riders. But I don't know if they promised us this battle. You know, they put out dueling trailers before the show began, pick a side like we were going to see. And just when they get ready and they get into it, it ends. Now, I do know some of this is due to the strike, I think, because usually they're 10-episode seasons. This was only 8. They may have had to cut back to get around the strike. Get that. It's been 2 years since the last episode. But based on what we got, Anthony, satisfied, disappointed, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, initially, I could see why people would be disappointed. I was not disappointed. And the reason for that is I think this season overall was really good. And there was a lot of good drama and tension and little moments of escalation. I do agree. I mean, the end of the last season, Lucerys gets eaten by Vhagar, Aemon, and you think this is going to lead right into war.
Or it's coming.
And it doesn't. There is stops and starts to the war, but it doesn't really lead to all-out war that we expected. And I knew going into this episode that this was the last one of this season. And I had a feeling with all the shit that was going on, I thought there's no way they can do all this in one episode.
Yeah.
Unless they just do it the way they did it with the White Walker battle.
Nobody liked that, though.
No one liked that. So I think while I can see the disappointment, and it is a little bit of a bait and switch, because the marketing to this was pick a side, and it seemed like we were going to have a huge dragon battle. I thought there was enough there this season, and I did enjoy this episode, even though we didn't have a huge battle. I did enjoy all the moments. It was a lot of very quiet, talky moments, but I enjoyed it overall, and I think Hot D season 2 overall, I think, is still very good and a successful show. And then there's that last scene of this episode where they're montaging everything that's happening. I was like, there's a lot of things going on, because it kind of ends with Alicent and Alicent kind of giving Rhaenyra a backdoor way to win this without a ton of violence.
Yeah.
But then you see all the shit happening and you go, oh, there's no way. They're going to have to fight. There's just too many things in motion with, Essos getting involved and all the different dragons and Aemond and, and all this shit. I mean, there's so many things.
There's so many things to unpack that happened. I feel the same way. I was a little shocked. I was like, oh shit, they're not, because when we'll talk about that Alicent Rhaenyra scene, it was amazing, and that happened. Awesome. And then I checked the runtime. I was like, oh, this show's about to end. I was like, we're not getting any of this, and then they hit us with this montage, right? And it was a cut to black that made me feel like I felt at the end of The Sopranos, where he's sitting in the diner and the Journey song is playing. And you think someone's going to pop up and shoot him, and it just cuts to black. You're like, what the fuck? But I see what they're doing. This whole season and this episode was just a whole build-up to. So next season, they better give us this got to be all-out battle and war.
Well, if you watch the recap after, they do say this season 2 was about the stops and starts, but season 3 we're into war.
You got to get into it. And from what I understand, I've talked to some people who have read the books. Like, there have been battles going on during this whole season. We didn't really get to see it. We got, there was that one where the two guys squared off, and it just cut to the end of the battle. And I guess there were other skirmishes Kristen Cole and Gwaine are having, but they're not really showing that. It's really about the characters and their motivations and their relationships.
And it really is about, and that's why that scene is so good, is really about these two friends that have gone awry. Alicent
the whole show is about these two. They were friends when they were girls.
Right.
Let's just start there, because wow, some amazing acting on both parties. We saw Rhaenyra visit Alicent sneakily earlier in the season. And now Allison visits Rhaenyra. Apparently, it's real easy to sneak around. Nobody notices.
Apparently,
they just let anybody in.
Even though it's just insanely supposed to be insanely dangerous, these two just get to where they need to go.
Everybody's out to kill everybody else, but in the middle of the night, Allison shows up, and I love that bit where Allison is telling her why she resented Rhaenyra this whole time, and it comes down to Rhaenyra got to live her life, do whatever she wanted to do.
Right.
Allison had to do what was expected of her.
She's always been about the order and how things are supposed to be.
Being like decisions made for her, being told what to do. And the last episode, like she fucked off to the forest and took a dip in the pool. She went skinny. I was like, the fuck is all this? She just wants to go out. And
she wants out.
She all that time made her realize she don't want to do this shit anymore.
Right.
And she has a proposal for Rhaenyra. She's like, I want to leave with my kids. I'm done. I don't want to be part of this. She's like, come to the Red Keep in 3 days. Everybody's going to be away for war. I will lay down the swords and concede, and you can take the Red Keep back. I was like, oh, shit.
Well, but she doesn't consider Aemon base. I mean, Aemon's still her kid, but she does not include Aemon into this plan to get rid of.
No, it's like the two little kids or whatever. Yeah.
And she wants to run away with Aegon and Helena.
Oh, Aegon and Helena and their kid.
Apparently, she has another kid. I'm reading this article you linked. I didn't know that Darren was
we'll get into that. You briefly see him in the montage.
Okay.
We have not met him. So after that, Allison is like, yo, fuck that. I want Aegon's head.
Right.
She's like a son for a son. And she makes her choose. She's like, you either pick me or you pick Aegon. And this is what a great moment. The pause, the hesitation, the look. And Allison just kind of nods and agrees.
Yeah.
To sacrifice Aegon. I was like, oh, shit. And now, can she be trusted? Something's going to get fucked up.
Well, Allison can be trusted. So I think the whole journey of it for Allison in this season was she thought she was doing the right thing. She legitimately thought she was doing the right thing, that Viserys at the end of his life made a choice.
Yes.
But then she saw how quickly all of this unraveled with Aegon and now Aemond, and she just wants no part of it. She's kind of cut out of everything. Yep. She doesn't want
she got fired.
War. Yeah. I mean, she doesn't, but even she doesn't want the violence. She doesn't want war. Yeah. And what probably hurts her the most is she realized, fuck, I made a mistake. Like,
yeah,
Aegon
so you think she's realized the mistake.
Yeah. And she just wants out. She just doesn't want to do this anymore. It's her dad is like everything she had at the end of season 1 is taken away from her.
And the fucking irony that Rhaenyra gave her a chance. Right. And now Rhaenyra's like, Allison, it's too late. What are you talking about? But this is the plan. Yeah.
But Allison does have, they say in the recap, and it's a good point, she has everything she thinks she needs to win the war, yet she's gotten this opportunity because Rhaenyra, while she says she needs to destroy the towns and, show her force, I don't think she really wants to kill either.
Yeah. She
now has this last minute plan of like, well, you could still just take it over if you trust Allison.
Yeah.
And I think that by the end they've built, I wouldn't say that, a friendship or anything, but there's some sort of maybe trust that they've exchanged that they didn't have coming into this, that they've rebuilt in that moment.
And I did love that it comes back to the two of them, right? It kind of full circle.
That's what the show's about.
That's what the show is about.
We could use that, though, to pivot because Aegon is being promised by Allison to get killed, but Aegon and Mr. Larys Strong are on their way to Essos, it sounds like.
So in the beginning, that was great. Of this episode, Larys is trying to convince Aegon. He's like, you got to leave. Your brother is going to kill you. And doesn't he say like, oh, by the way, my dick exploded. Did you know that? He's like, I peed. The pee runs down my leg. He's like, I can't do this.
He was talking about how pathetic he is now.
I think I was like, did he just say his dick exploded? I think he did.
It exploded like a sausage in the fire.
His dick exploded. Oh God.
He's got nothing going for him. But initially he's pretty. What's interesting is he's pretty. He's pretty not resentful, but he wants to stay strong. He goes, well, when Aemon goes away, I'll get back on the throne and I'll have him arrested.
Yeah, and Larys is like, and then what?
Yeah, and then he quickly realizes from Larys he's got nothing to do. Like he's got no Vagar. Even if he gets the throne back, he's going to lose.
He doesn't have a dragon.
There's nothing
anymore.
for him.
Yeah.
But Larys is like manipulating him because obviously Larys has his own thing.
Yeah.
But Larys is like, hey man, if we wait this out, they'll kill each other.
Right.
Your life will be saved.
Ride back
you
in.
Come back and ride back in as a hero.
Take over. That's his plan. And also, so another quick shot in the montage. We'll go through the montage, but there is a shot of Otto Hightower in like a cell.
Yeah.
Jail.
We don't know what happened. Yeah.
So this is what I think what happened. Remember, Aemond sent Larys. He goes, go get Hightower. I need him. I feel like Larys got him locked up.
Well, Aemond wanted Hightower back as his hand.
Yeah, but Larys does not want Hightower back because Hightower did not like Larys, didn't think he was necessary. Right. So I think Larys gets Otto locked up to keep him out of the picture. And meanwhile, he is taking Aegon as his safety, he's a smart fucking dude, as his reserve and getting the fuck out of Dodge.
Larys is this offshoot.
Littlefinger.
Yep.
Yeah. He's definitely
more perverted.
Yeah. But I was like, this guy's he's pretty brilliant. That's a great move. And he does get Aegon to leave. Let's go back because episodes 6 and 7 are, I just said, there's no action. There's no battle. There's a couple of dragons. Episodes 6 and 7 have some amazing dragon scenes and it will fill in.
They're awesome. Yeah.
All the dragon riders they have. This whole thing about dragons getting riders and the ceremony and the process was so fucking fascinating and amazing.
Yeah, I found that riveting in both episodes.
The first one, Sea Smoke. She finds a knight. They're trying to go straight Targaryen blood, knighted full Targaryen.
Well, he's not full. He's got Targaryen blood in him.
But he's not like common folk. No,
he's not common. He's not a bastard.
He's not a bastard, which is what they shift to later. But he shows up, and this sequence is fantastic with Sea Smoke because right away, the first thing I'm like, oh, he's gonna get eaten.
Yeah.
Right, and then you see Sea Smoke kind of bow down and calm himself and give him access to the thing. And the guy is moving so slow and hesitant. I was yelling at the screen. I was like, what the fuck? Get on this dragon. Do not hesitate, bro. And he gets up there and he goes, I did it. And then Sea Smoke Dracaris the fuck out of him. I was like, I told you, why are you hesitating? You hesitate. And then it's brilliant. Sea Smoke fucks off and is like, I got to find my own rider. And finds Adam of Hull, the other bastard son of Corlys Velaryon, along with Alan. That's a great moment. Mm-hmm. And then we start the next episode. Rhaenyra is with her dragon facing off on the beach with Adam of Hull and Sea Smoke. And she's like,
her dragon is
Cyrax. And she's like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, they said they had him stand off like a Mexican standoff.
Yeah,
or a Western.
that shot was wild.
That shot was wild. And yeah, she's basically going, do I have to kill you? Like, what the fuck just happened here?
And he's like, I'll bend the knee. And she's like, oh, you did that quickly. What's going on?
Yeah.
And I was like,
it's still kind of a mystery how he has Targaryen blood or what's going on there.
It's through Corlys Velaryon then.
Through Corlys Velaryon, but he's his mom. Corlys's bastard.
Right. So maybe his mother was a Targaryen we don't know about.
She was with Rhaenys. Yeah, was he fucking other Targaryens on the side? I don't know.
Yeah. Unclear. And he doesn't tell Rhaenyra, yo, I'm Corlys's bastard son. He wants to do this on his own, right? He doesn't want the thing, and he does, and he's great. He gains her confidence.
Well, he also, in that, when he gets the dragon, because Corlys's whole storyline is also interesting, where he's lost everything, and he kind of looks at Adam of Hull and is like, nice, good job. Like, he's almost kind of proud of him, even though he can't fully acknowledge him as his son.
Yeah.
He's like, damn, good for you, man.
And then in this episode, the confrontation Alan finally has with Corlys is so fantastic because you got to imagine this guy's been there watching his father with his other sons, giving him all this shit, and
great speech.
He's like, "Fuck you." He's like, "You know what I've been through." He's like, "Now you want to be dad? Go fuck yourself."
Right.
And he absolutely deserved it. And I felt so bad for Corlys, but I was like, good for Alan. And he did it out in public too. He's like, he didn't give a shit anymore.
What did you think about? I thought episode 7 was pretty awesome because then you have
this is great.
Now that cause this leads into Rhaenyra is going, fuck, there's got to be a shit ton of bastard Targaryens out there.
Some bastards.
Let's get all the bastards, give them their golden ticket. She literally,
open
does a
casting
Willy Wonka.
call. Yeah. Yes.
Willy Wonka golden ticket.
Everybody shows up.
If you can make it through the fucking factory, you're going to get the golden ticket and you can own them.
Bro, and all those
and
people.
You get two dudes.
Yes. And it's brilliant because, they've given us hints of Hugh, hints of Ulf, a little bit.
Yeah, I never really knew what was going on with those two. And then to see that pay off later and go, oh, they're Targaryens.
So this is another fantastic scene because she's telling them, she's like, you're giving up your life. You may not come back from this. She's like, let me show you the dragon. And she tells them about
the Valyrians are like, we want no part of this.
Oh, yeah, because the dragon keeper is fucked off. They're like,
the dragon, because it's supposed to be pure like Targaryens that can get the dragons. It's supposed to be this thing, and now you're introducing bastards, and even Jace is really upset about it because
that's all he has.
That's all he has to his name is, hey, I'm
Targaryen.
A noble Targaryen, and I can ride a dragon, and that makes us special. But in the back of his mind, he also knows he's a bastard. So now, if any fucking bastard can get him, it makes him he's not special anymore in his own head.
Yeah, he's been a little whiny bitch. He even goes there. He's like, did it bother you that my hair was black or something?
Right.
And he gets a little mad, and then his sister, the other girl, like kind of calms him down. He's got to play. Okay, so this is fantastic. Vermithor. Second biggest dragon to Vhagar. He's called the Bronze Fury. I was like, that's a fucking dope nickname for a dragon. Bronze Fury. And she calls him. They go out to the parapet and all the people are there. And she calls in an amazing shot. 2 amazing shots back to back. Her touching him, that long shot in silhouette, and then her right behind him. And she turns around and she's like, which one of you are going to be first? And then she's like, the dragon's got to choose. That's all I got. See ya. I'm going to go upstairs. And she leaves right away. She's like, I can't tell you anything else. He's got to choose. And I'm like, bro, all those people are going to get burned up right now. Come on. And what ensues is a fantastic, Vermithor isn't fucking around, and she's watching him Dracarys people. And then this amazing one-take shot they put together at the bottom of this thing, running around with Hugh and Ulf. And Hugh finally just yelling at Vermithor to gain its respect. He just goes, come on. And then Vermithor's like, okay, all right.
I love the dichotomy there because Hugh wants to die nobly.
Yes, he's ready to die.
He's ready to sacrifice himself, and Vermithor respects that.
Yeah,
because everyone else is running.
Yeah.
But then Ulf.
Meanwhile,
Ulf is just fucking off, acting like a complete coward. Sees a dragon, stumbles over himself, covers his eyes, ready to die like a coward. And the dragon's like, "Oh, you're so cute."
Yes, he steps on. Doesn't he step on one of her eggs?
I mean, I just step on an egg or something like that. But the bond between each dragon and their rider is very unique.
So he just literally stumbles into a dragon. I think that's Silverwing. And I think Silverwing, single mom, she was just bored. She's like, I need to stretch my wings. You're cute. You're funny. I could manipulate. She's probably like, I could manipulate you, you weak fucking spineless bastard. Get out. And then and then you get that scene where he's just flying around the Red Keep like a little kid, giddy as a kid, and flies back. And Aemon sees him and takes Vhagar and goes over there and then turns back. He makes Vhagar turn back. Vhagar don't want to turn back because he sees what? Rhaenyra and 3 fucking dragons. Dopest end shot of any episode was episode 7.
When she climbs up the hill to approach them and has the dragons following her, it's like, oh fuck.
And he's like, oh shit, turn around.
At this point is like, oh fuck, I don't have.
Yeah.
I thought I was winning this thing, and now I am fucked. And I'm going to take the next episode and just burn a town because I in a pissy fit.
And it was strategic, but it was also out of frustration.
Right.
Because he's like, shit, we need more dragons. Now, she's very trusting, Ulf especially. Like, if I was Ulf, what's stopping him from taking the dragon and just fucking right off? Like, fuck you guys, I'm out. I got a dragon. I'm going to go live my life in another town.
Well, Ulf is hilarious because he gets the dragon, but he does it in a very unnoble way. But now he's in the room and he's disrespecting everybody. And then I love the line where she's like, I'll make you a knight. You guys will all become knights if you do this for me. And then she goes, you need to speak to me respectfully if you want to be a knight. And then he's like, well, you better make me a knight.
That whole dinner scene, she's having a dinner to tell them, you're going to have to kill innocent people, by the way.
Right.
And he keeps going, bring out more of those birds. Let me get some more of those birds. And she's like, yes, a knight must act of composure. And she's like, make me a knight then, bitch. And then he's like, bring me more birds. He's so funny. I don't know if you could trust Ulf.
Probably not, but you got the dragons, and then this brings... this is how all the storylines kind of weave together. Aemond is very desperate.
Yeah.
And he's like, we need more dragons.
Yeah.
And he's like, Helena,
yes,
I know you're a soft motherfucker that loves animals, doesn't want to kill a thing.
I need you to get out.
I need you to get more dragons.
Yes.
And that's when Allison's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Get your hands off of her.
Yeah.
But you still have that conversation where they talk.
Yeah.
And Helena's like, I know what you did to Aegon.
She knew. Yes, she saw it. She goes,
she has visions too.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're not going to win. It doesn't matter what happens. If you kill me or not, you're not winning this.
Yeah. And yes, he's like, you're going to be dead. Aegon's going to be king. Fuck you. I'm not doing this. And but that is a desperate last ditch effort because she is Targaryen.
But there are still unclaimed dragons, so
yes,
who knows?
So, and Bela was looking for the wild dragon in the Vale, and she finds
because she was kicked out of the Vale, right? They were all kicked out.
She went. She was like essentially told to babysit these kids with these baby dragons, and the baby dragons are cute.
But they promised the Vale they'd have dragons, and they have baby dragons.
Right.
So they're like,
and, yes, and the Vale were a little disappointed and hurt because this was not what you promised.
Right.
But this one's called Sheep Stealer, apparently. And all we see is her just confronting him. I thought there'd be more that she's going to get on. So
she's going to get him.
Rhaenyra has like 7 dragons right now.
She does.
If you count Daemon's, everyone's. It's crazy. And how many does the other side have?
Just one or two.
Isn't that nuts?
3.
They have Vhagar. But
they have Vhagar. They have this one that potentially could be their son's.
Oh yes,
Targaryen, and then we don't know if we think Sunfire's dead.
I think Sunfire is probably dead. Yes,
right. So they have a lot of dragons.
So that is
it's like if in the war if you had more nukes,
or more tanks or whatever.
No, it's nukes. The dragons are like nukes.
Okay, I want to talk about Daemon.
Yes,
he was. Sidelined, not really sidelined, separated, given his own journey for the majority of the season. I thought that Harrenhal shit was only going to go a couple of episodes. He's there. He's there since like episode 2. But by the end, I didn't mind because you see his journey.
Well, I take a step back before you get to his journey because we didn't talk about. I loved how in the last episode 7. The boy from River Run that's now the Lord.
Yes, the Tully kid.
This whole time, the whole premise or the whole thing that Daemon's trying to do is he's trying to raise an army.
Yeah,
and he's trying to raise an army really for self. Like he wants Rhaenyra to win, but he wants to be a king.
Right.
He's doing this out of selfish motivation. But he's finally like, shit. Yes, the old man Strong's dead. The boy is in charge now. I can bully this kid into whatever I want.
Yeah.
And he takes the kid out in front of the Lord and says, bow to me, basically. And the kid does, but the kid is a lot smarter than we thought he is. And fucking turns it all around on him and makes Daemon confess to being a little bit too cruel and then cutting the head off the guy that did it.
Yeah.
And basically making Daemon his bitch.
Oh,
you want me to have my armies and all my
you kill this motherfucker.
Yep, you're gonna do something for me. Yeah. You're gonna admit you suck, and you're gonna kill this motherfucker.
Justice. He does get justice. That was great. And he does it.
That was great. Yeah.
So Daemon, this whole time, I love how Harrenhal gives you visions. It fucks with your head. You hear voices. You have Alice the witch there, kind of guiding him, helping him. Telling him what's gonna happen. And this whole journey culminates in him finally touching that weirwood tree, the Godwood tree. She says, you're ready to see what your part in all this is. And this is fucking crazy. He touches the tree and he sees the cliff notes of Game of Thrones. He's like, oh, this is the next TV show. You see White Walkers. You see Daenerys with 3 little dragons. He sees his death. And then he sees the adult Rhaenyra on the throne. Whereas before he was seeing the young Rhaenyra, and then he sees Helena. And this finally...
He also sees a comet.
Oh, yes. What was the comet? That's the...
I don't know.
There's a comet coming in, right? I think that's maybe where the eggs come from, or the dragon eggs? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that meant. I'm not fully in tune with the thrones, but he saw a lot of shit. That's for sure. He saw a lot of shit, and that gives us another great moment because Rhaenyra sends a Brome over there. Dude, she's like, go check up on Daemon, and he goes over there, but he's encouraging Daemon. He's like, I don't know, the council's all crazy. I think we need you in charge. And she hears about some fuckery going on, and she's like, fuck it, I'm going to go myself.
Well, wait, before you get to that, too, here's what he saw.
Yeah.
He saw a man becoming a three-eyed raven.
Oh, the raven, yes.
He saw the White Walkers leading the army of the dead. Yeah. Caraxes is dead, and Daemon is dying in the water.
Yes.
A red comet, Daenerys Targaryen from, you know what, holding her 3 dragon eggs, and then Rhaenyra on the throne, then Helena. And I thought that was awesome because all this time, while we know this is all in the same universe, it's what, hundreds of years before Daenerys even rises. So we were, I was like, this is its own thing, but it's connected, but it doesn't feel, other than Targaryen, it doesn't feel like it's directly affected to the events. But after seeing all that, you go, oh, this is all still part of the same thing.
Yeah.
And what the actions that Daemon takes in this moment in reaction to this are going to lead to, Game of Thrones as we know it, and putting themselves in a position to win the war against the White Walkers.
It is a great way to connect it to the other show and the history and the lore. And yeah, this is what it took for him. If he doesn't see this, history doesn't go his way. And so Rhaenyra finally shows up at Harrenhal, and she's confronting him, and there's all these people. He's got thousands of people as an army, and he's like, they serve me. And she's like, who do you serve? And you're waiting because he told Alice, he's like, she could join me on the throne. I'm taking the throne. She wants to come, she could join me. He wants it for himself. But after seeing what he sees, he fucking bends the knee.
That's
nice. My God. And the rest follow. And then they go, we fight for our queen. And they all cheered. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. So good.
That was cool. Yeah. And now she has an army, a land army, as long with the dragons. And, this whole time too, it felt like there were multiple things at play. You had, Daemon, you had Aemon, you had Aegon, you had, Rhaenyra and Alicent. But now that Daemon is locked in, and he's gonna fight for Rhaenyra, because what he realizes is that she has to get on the throne for them to put themselves in a position to fight off whatever's going to come later.
Yep.
But that his part in this story is like there's something bigger than him, and he realizes he can't the throne and being selfish for the throne. Yeah. It's not worth what actually is what matters in this story.
He realizes the world doesn't revolve around him.
Right.
Finally. Now, let me ask you this. Did it really need all season for him to come to this fucking conclusion? They could have, it was a little.
I thought the Harrenhal stuff was a little dragged out, but it did come to a cool ending, and with the vision he saw.
And it kind of pays off all the time, but I was like, man, he was there all fucking season to come to this.
He was all there. He was there all season, seeing shit, and then having the old guy, Tully or whatever, Strong,
Simon Strong,
Simon Strong, talk to him about shit.
Yeah, and he's such a good actor. Like, you want to see him go up against Aemon or any of these other people, and his character is fantastic. So that's something to look forward to, I guess. In season 3.
Well, they said that you'll see the shit that plays out and how it's pivotal to how the Game of Thrones storyline plays out.
Also, I'm told from the books that army he has is like 30,000 people.
Oh, interesting.
When they had that wide shot, when she's flying up to the thing, you could see all the tents and the encampment. Like, there's a lot of people.
Well, you want to run through that montage real quick?
Wait,
what you
before we get to the montage, I want to mention, despite all this heavy drama, there was some fun levity and humor brought to us by a new character, this pirate, female pirate of the Triarchy in Essos. because Tywin Lannister is trying to get a deal with the Triarchy to get a naval fleet for Alicent, for the Greens, to bust through the blockade Rhaenyra has set up, right? But he has to mud wrestle this woman. And I don't know. I thought it was kind of fun. It was just weird, and like it was great being in Essos too, because it's totally like the Middle Eastern part of Game of Thrones, which I love. You know, how they make everything look like the Middle Ages in Westeros, and everything over here is like Egypt or something. And then that part where she's fucking with him, where she's like, "I want to have your children. I want you to fuck my wives." He's just sitting there, and then she starts laughing, just fucking with him. What'd you think of that character? I was like, oh, they just introduced this fucking new pirate character in the last episode.
Yeah, she was definitely different. Whenever you go to Essos and introduce characters, those characters are always a little bit different.
Yeah.
They're dealing with the Triarchy, which are pirates. I thought it was fun. I thought, added a little bit of, made the show less serious for a little bit, and them fighting in the mud and talking about eating their enemies and stuff. Yes. You know, she was a wild card.
Yes, that was the most action we got this episode, was fucking mud wrestling. It's wild. It's great.
Yep.
Okay, so all of this is leading up to, we get Alicent and the Rhaenyra scene, and then the final montage is you see the Dragon Riders getting ready. Those suits look dope, and they're getting ready, and those are some cool shots. I was like, look at these fucking suits. You see the Lannisters arrive at the Riverlands, I believe.
Yep.
You see the Hightower army coming through somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You see the Winter Wolves and the Starks coming down from the north.
Yep.
You see the Triarchy sailing with Tywin Lannister and that pirate lady towards the blockade. And then you also see Mr. Sea Snake, who he renamed his boat for his wife. That was real nice. The queen that never was. He's there with Alan heading out towards the blockade. Then you see Daemon and his army in the Riverlands waiting there. They're ready. And then you see the shot of this caravan and this dragon fly by. That's that Tessarion and Alicent's fourth son that we have not met.
Say that again. What is it?
That's the was it Tessarion? Tessarion?
Wait, what was the shot?
This is the shot of this like caravan down a road, and you see this dragon fly by.
Oh, interesting.
This is the as of yet unseen son of Alicent and Viserys, who was raised there. And this is a new dragon. So they have, the thing is, this is his first flight. So they have that dragon. Then you see that Otto Hightower shot in the cell. I was like, where the fuck is Otto Hightower? Then you see Rhaena finally finding that wild dragon, sheep stealer. You see Larys leaving King's Landing with Aegon secretly. And then cut to black. That's it. Holy shit. Pieces. All the chess pieces are coming together. There was no battle, but I enjoyed the drama in this episode. Just like every episode, give us fantastic moments, fantastic acting. Overall, dude, the sets, the costumes, the music. Holy shit.
For the most part, I would say that some of the CGI was a little spotty.
I mean, I think they blew their load on those last two episodes of the Dragons. Like, that must have cost a lot of money. But they built a lot of like Harrenhal and these sets that with the hallways, like they built a lot of these sets. Also, whenever they burn people, they actually burn fucking people. There was one of the behind the scenes thing in episode 7. This guy's like, this is the biggest burn we've ever done. 16 people they lit on fire for 10 seconds and put them out for this fucking shot. I was like, that's insane. How do you safely burn 16 people for this shot and then put them out? But yeah, every time you see someone burn, like remember that dude in episode 6, he gets burned and he drops to his knees and instantly like cuts his neck while he's on fire. That was a real stunt dude on fire doing that. Yeah, they burned a lot of people. So in the dragon riding effects, I mean, I think largely the set design, the production design,
it's usually pretty good. I would say, like I said, the CGI at times is a little spotty, but overall, I mean, it's still a very, very well made show. And I think the one criticism people would have of it is it was a little bit of a bait and switch. We thought we'd get a lot more war this season. We didn't. But I thoroughly enjoyed all the drama and the escalation and everyone's different viewpoint and all the chess pieces that are being put in place. So, nothing in the show, everything played out and made sense. You know, it wasn't like a bad season like season 8 where characters start acting out of character.
Right.
Everyone acts in a way that's in line with their character and makes moves that make sense for where they would be at in the next part
Absolutely.
Of the show.
Like everything Rhaenyra has done has made sense.
Alicent, Aemon, Aegon, you know, and if anything, what this season did is it built the show beyond Rhaenyra and Alicent. Yeah. So the last season was really a Rhaenyra, Alicent, maybe Otto, Viserys type show.
Right.
And this one, you know, now you have Aemon, you have Aegon, and you have Jacaerys, Jace, and you have Mysaria. You know, you have all these other characters now that I can kind of get behind and want to see other scenes with. So,
what do you think of Rhaenyra and Mysaria making out all of a sudden? That kind of came out of nowhere, but you felt the tension.
Yeah, you know.
I was like, oh,
hot lesbian action, you know.
Oh, she should be hand. Make her hand. What are you doing? she is also very smart, like Laris. And then what about? Oh yeah, the Kristen Cole. Still sad.
Just
moping around.
So he, how did the Hightower, the brother, know that he was fucking his sister?
He was sniffing her handkerchief with the initials on it. That's the only thing I could think of. He had it and he was smelling it. And Gawain walks up and he goes, "Oh, you've been fucking my sister, huh?" In front of everybody. He's like, "How can you be the head of the Kingsguard and the hand to be fucking my sister?" Yep. And he's like, "I'm a fucking asshole." And Kristen Cole's like, "Yeah, it was wrong. I fucked everything up. What do you want from me?"
And Kristen Cole is basically like, we're all going to die anyways.
He's like, now the whole time he's like, now that you've introduced dragons, the war is over for humans. Like, you've given it to the dragons.
Yeah, it's there's no point in any of this. What are we doing here?
Nothing you could do. So yeah, there was that also storyline in here. They have said the creator Ryan Condal says there's going to be 4 seasons.
Oh, wow.
So, and season 3 starts production next year.
Well, supposedly there's a lot of battles and stuff that you know we haven't seen yet. So,
well, I feel like there's been a lot of battles in the background that they didn't show us this season. You could have showed us one of those, maybe. But look, episode 4, that dragon shit was amazing. 6 and 7, the choosing the dragon riders, fucking amazing. And I did like this final episode, kind of.
So did I.
Bringing everything together. Would you consider this dragon action this season the best we have gotten from Game of Thrones out of all the shows, the original show and this show? I don't think we've seen.
Well, the dragon on dragon action is pretty nice. Yeah. I think the episode with Vhagar versus Meleys and Cyrex, that was probably the best you're going to get. But last season, you know, the Game of Thrones having the dragons destroy the Lannisters, and then having the white dragon versus the regular dragon, those were also pretty good too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
that. Yeah, the white dragon busting open the wall.
These are fucking wild animals, and you're just telling it to calm down. It's fascinating. Like, these things at any moment can turn. The risk you must take.
But they're nukes. It's the equivalent of having a nuke.
Yes, but it's so. How reliable is it? These are fucking wild animals, you know. But they're the heavy hitters. So we're gonna have to wait probably a year or 2, maybe not 2 years.
Yeah, it's a year and a half, probably.
A year and a half, which kind of sucks. But now that they have finally kind of moved the pieces into place, yes, we still haven't got the battle that this whole season we've been waiting for. But fuck, some good drama, good acting. Let's rate this show. Let's rate the season.
8.5.
Oh, that's a good score. I'm going to give it the same score. I don't know.
Look at you.
I think I like it a little bit better than last season.
I think I liked season 1 better because I enjoyed seeing them fall apart. And I like the drama with the kids.
Yeah.
But they're both pretty good. I think season 2 it's not a bad season at all. It's a very high drama. Very high stakes by the end of it, and like I said earlier, everyone makes logical sense in the decisions they're making.
I mean,
how their arcs are unfolding.
Yeah, and it's always solid. The first season, like the some of the time jumps and the the fact that it was
time jumps were a little tough.
Yeah, and all of a sudden there's all these kids and characters, and I was like, who are all these fucking kids? What are the names? What's going on? And even at the beginning of this season, I was still like, fuck, I don't remember any of these. What are all these names? But by the end, you know everybody's name. And
that's the crazy part is you don't remember their names, and they have such weird names, and then there's people with the same name.
Yes.
There's an Aegon, the king, and there's Aegon that's Rhaenyra's son.
Yes.
But it's amazing how by the end you go, yeah, I know those kids' names.
There's a Rhaenyra, there's a Rhaenys, and then there's a Rhaena. They're all very close. But yeah, you totally, Jace, all these fucking, even the bastard kids, their names. So they do a good job at, character development. And we got dragons.
Hey, all else fails, just give us a shot of some dragon. Every time the dragons are on screen and crawl up to people, I'm mesmerized while looking at the dragons.
Yeah, no, they're great. And that whole sequence in the second episode from the bottom with the single camera was fantastic. The dragons and the close-ups look great. Here's something we can look forward to coming next year to Max. Another prequel spinoff called A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. This is the Dunk and Egg story. I don't know if you've heard of those characters. I've heard of these names. Sir Duncan the Tall. And they're doing Dunk and Egg. So
what is that?
It's a century before the events of Game of Thrones. Two unlikely heroes wandered Westeros. A young, naive, but courageous knight, Sir Duncan the Tall, and his diminutive squire, Egg, set in an age when the Targaryen line still holds the Iron Throne, and the memory of the last dragon has not yet passed from living memory. Great destinies, powerful foes, dangerous exploits all await these improbable and incomparable friends. So you got like a big guy and a little guy traveling through Westeros a century before Game of Thrones, which is when I thought this takes place. I feel like maybe it's a little bit after this. I think it's a little bit after this.
No idea.
Yeah.
I will watch.
I will watch, though. Yes. 100 years before. Yeah. And so that'll be it next year, 2025. But in the meantime, that was great. I wish it was 10 episodes because it felt like could have used an extra episode or two and give us a battle. But I get it. I get it. There was a strike. There was issues. I'll let this pass. And I'm sure they'll give us 10 episodes.
This too shall pass.
This will all pass. All right. Well, that about wraps it up. I don't have any news from the nation this week.
Oh, what the fuck news? Tell us, get on your ass and write some shit.
You got to take things away and make people want it, and it'll come back next week.
You're not watching anything.
Well, are you watching anything?
No,
I've watched a bunch of things, but I'll wait till next week when Ruggs comes back because I know
someone actually wants to listen to you talk about
some of the same things. Yes, have you not watched any Olympics at all?
I've been watching just a little bit of the basketball, but I don't get to the Olympics. As a kid, I used to get really into the Olympics, but I just don't have time for it now.
You know what I tell you is the best thing on Peacock? There is an Olympic highlight show hosted by Kenan Thompson and Kevin Hart, right? And so I was like, oh, this is an official show. It's going to be all sanitized, cleaned up. How good could this be? Whatever. Bro, it's fucking hilarious. They are letting them swear, be raunchy, say whatever they want. And this is like an official, NBC Olympics show on Peacock, and it's so fucking funny.
Wow.
Yeah, I would definitely, there's 4 episodes, there's going to be 8, but it shocked me that they are just letting them swear just outright on this Olympics show. And all the guests that come on, they kind of set up bits and they give them shit. They give the host shit. And Kevin Hart reacts. It's pretty funny. I really enjoy it. So,
all right, there we go. There's a rec.
There you go. If anything, check out the Olympic highlight show, Kevin Hart, Kenan Thompson. And there'll be more this week. But as for now, we are done. Thank you for listening. Visit our website, jockandnerd.com, for all the links, how to support the show, how to get in touch, where to find it, to stream. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
Fuck that show. Not funny.
Thing I offered you a chance to be a cop, and you blew it.
I really don't give a shit.
Jock and Nerd.